Giuliani with America's Mayor Live from New York City. And tonight, it seems to me that Biden is fiddling while Iran is dominating. This entire war and military actions associated with it has really been dominated, certainly by Iran in comparison to the U.S. Now, they haven't dominated Israel because Israel has a leader. We are, of course, in the very difficult position of being dominated because we don't have a leader. And he's been pushed all over the globe by the Ayatollah. So today, he exits the White House and he tells everyone that he's made a decision. But he won't tell us the decision. So we can understand that. There may be some security attached to it, right? But if there is, why would you tease that you made a decision? Because if this is very secure information, all this is going to do is motivate the enemy to try to find it out, right? And it isn't that we are all that good at maintaining our secrets, right? But when they know they're looking for a secret, there's a much greater chance they're going to get it than not. So I'm at a loss for why he said what he said, unless it's a tease and it's not true, and he hasn't made a decision. And with him, you really don't know. It's very frustrating to have a president that is both demented and all his life a pathological liar, because really you have no. You don't even have like a basis on which to know when he's lying. I mean, some people look a little funny. He looks a little funny all the time. Why don't we play so we can all look at it? Why don't we play what he said this morning as, does it bother anybody that he's going all the way to the West Coast for a fundraiser while we're trying to make a decision how to deter Iran from killing any more of our soldiers? That bothers me. I sure as hell wouldn't do it. But this guy has no heart, no soul, and no conscience, so it doesn't matter. And he probably would make no better decision in Washington than on the plane. So let's.
Yes.
Have you not hold Iran responsible for the death of those three Americans?
I do hold them responsible in the sense that they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it. We'll have that discussion.
We've deterred these attacks in the past. What will be different this time?
We'll see. I don't think we need a wider war in the Middle East. That's not what I'm looking for.
Donald Trump be allowed on the ballot.
As far as I'm concerned, that's fine.
Why did he even hold to be the threat to democracy, as you say?
I'm at a loss to understand what that's about. Excuse me if I think it sounds awfully childish to come out and say I made a decision, but I'm not going to tell you. And I can't, for the life of me, think of a responsible reason for doing that. If you can't tell us because it's sensitive, then why tease the world with it so they'll try to find it out? And if it isn't all that sensitive, why don't you tell us? Or is it that you haven't made a decision and you're trying to buy time? And in your case, there really is another thing, and I don't mean to be facetious at a time like this, but I wish you write it down, Joe. Huh? You know what happens when you try to remember things. You may bomb the wrong, you may bomb the, these countries are very close together. You could easily, given the way you fall going downstairs and you don't know which direction you're going in when you leave, you could hit the wrong country. I mean, most of them around there, well, I won't say anything. Just don't hit Israel, okay? We got one friend there. Huh? Well, it is good to see that after all the years of consistently, without doubt, being wrong about every issue of foreign policy, you have now come up with a doctrine that will bear your name forever. Sort of like the Monroe Doctrine, Joe. Wow. It's really amazing how a guy who got left back in the third grade can come up with a doctrine. But the doctrine is, let me see if I get it right now. It's escalation avoidance. You've said it in one way or another about 50 times. This is like what you did with Putin. That was kind of like a giveaway when he treated you like an animal that he had on the, and he kept getting you to say, "No boots on the ground, no boots on the ground." If don't invade Ukraine, but no boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, no boots on the ground. Okay, I got it. You're not going to intervene. I can go take what I want. Thank you, Joe. I got my answer. Thank you, baby. Boy, it's easy to get stuff out of you when you got a stupid man, huh? So much harder with that Trump guy. Now they're doing it to you again, Joe, and you don't even realize it. I mean, today, before you even got the sentence out, that you've made up your mind, but you're not telling us, which is highly suspect. You made it clear that you don't want a wider war. You realize that the body language, the weasel, cowardly words tell the Ayatollah and his people all they need to know. You're going to do nothing to them. And they can keep going ahead, keep pushing for as far as they want to go. I don't know what it would take for you to really defend us. I think you'd be more likely to defend China than you'd do to defend us. But let's examine this new, almost as if we were students of foreign policy. Maybe someday I'll teach foreign policy. Who knows? I would fail you. I mean, Gates failed you. So how could I not fail you? You might actually be the worst. You may be the worst student of foreign policy in the history of America because you never got a single decision right, according to Secretary Gates. Well, in any event, let's examine this. What do you call it? Escalation avoidance. So, and is there a time in which you can take this theory and I know how you guys love science, even though you don't understand it, how you love it. And you could kind of use a scientific method. The scientific method would be, we'll test it in the real world. So back in October 17th, we got bombed by a proxy for Iran. And then we got bombed a couple more times. And they were kind of like decoys, but not even real decoys. Like, we know Iran did it, but they were there so that we could hit them. It'd make us feel good and it wouldn't do any damage to Iran because we do not want to disturb. I mean, look, we've invested a lot of money in Iran. We don't want to, we haven't, not as much as Ukraine, but we've invested a lot of money in Iran. The last year in office, your pal, Prince Obama, put in $1.7 billion, a whole bunch of it in cash, kind of like the way drug dealers and terrorists do it, I don't think a president ever did it that way before. But then again, when's the last time we had a president from Chicago? So you practice your escalation avoidance the first time. And then the second time. And then they hit us again. And you're very patient. You're very, very patient. You know, and they're hitting us around over here, here, and here, back and forth. This is a big one, herbal, right here. Right next, really close to Iran. Who knows? Those could have come out of Iran. I mean, I don't want to say anything, but the attack that unfortunately killed those wonderful people, we kind of got it wrong. Maybe we're spending a little too much time on DEI and not enough time on training them to kill people. What do you think? Did you know, Joe, that that's why people are in the Army? They're there to kill people, not to learn to be inclusive. In fact, they actually got to learn to be exclusive. There's like certain people they got to, in order, they don't do this because they're mean or because there's anything wrong with them. They do because something right about them. They want to protect innocent people. That's a noble thing, Joe. And I know all you left wingers kind of step all over our police and our military. And you guys are much better. But I got to tell you one thing, man, oh man. When I was trapped on September 11, I'm glad I didn't have any of you guys around. I'm glad I had New York City cops and firefighters and people who have been in the military. You know, glad I didn't have you guys around. I don't think you're worth very much. I think I'd call those police officers that you want to defund if, God forbid, my granddaughter was in trouble, not you. Now, so they're just having a field day. I mean, they're just bombing us left and right. You're lying about it with your two, you know how they have designated hitters in baseball? You got designated liars. I don't know how you figure it out. Someday we'll figure out the pattern. You send out little Red Riding Hood, or you send out the former admiral, and he really is former. And they lie. They wouldn't even tell us about these. I mean, it took everything to get the attacks out of them. Then nobody got seriously injured. And there was a guy in a coma. That was a little tough. And then one day somebody really slipped, and they announced that an American contractor died. But then you took him off the list because he doesn't count. He's just a contractor. I beg to differ with you, though, however. Do you know that Donald Trump bombed the living daylights out of them when they killed an American contractor? But you see, that's what a president does of the American people, not a president who's been bribed so often he doesn't even know where the hell he is. We'll get to that story in a minute because it's very, very instructive. In fact, tonight's show could be described. You could solve all your problems if you just called up Donald Trump and asked him how to do these things. I'm serious. So he had a similar problem. In 2019, the same group, Kataib Hezbollah, was bombing us, and they get a couple of minor ones. Then they had a pretty good one where they took out an American contractor, as we said, and I think they injured either was a half dozen or a dozen or 2 dozen soldiers, some seriously, some not so seriously. We hit back hard, but not really. We just hit back quickly. We didn't wait all these days like you do. And Trump isn't a child, so he didn't say, you know, I have a plan, but I'm not going to tell you. Meh. He just hit him back. And then they made an effort to get into our embassy. Well, that ended it. The next day, he took out the second most important person in Iran, the biggest killer, the guy who had the most American blood on his hands, and the guy that both Bush and Prince Obama were afraid to kill because it would cause a war. Maybe if they hadn't been afraid to kill them, there'd be a lot of Americans alive today that aren't. Because there's no reason there would have been a war then if there wasn't a war at the time you did it. They were just dead wrong because they were scared. Or in the case of Obama, we don't really know. And it's going to take a lot of research and investigation what makes that guy tick. And it's not anything good. His wife's got the same problem. I mean, you were the first reason that she was proud to be an American. That's really a pathetic reason. You, guy that didn't even write a note to get on the law review. How'd you get on? Now that we're finding out about Harvard, can you tell us how you really got on the law review? I really never thought you were that smart. I know everybody else did, but you did that all the time. I just wanted to unless you read off the things there. And boy, you made some of the worst decisions. How about all that cash to terrorists? Look at your Prince Obama, because people go to jail for that. Ordinary people, not special people like you and your wife and Biden and Hillary. You're very special. You're in the golden circle. You can do everything except kill people. Maybe you can kill people. I don't know what you can do, but you can do everything. You sure can take a hell of a lot of money. Ooh. So Trump, without delaying, oh man, he insulted Iraq. He didn't contact Iraq. He didn't do what Kerry once announced he was going to do, and I predicted to Chris Wallace that he would lose the presidency over this. He was asked what would he do if America was attacked, and the first thing he said, I'd call our allies together and get their advice. And Bush said, I'd go hit him back. And Bush became the president, thank God. Or got reelected as president. We don't, when my family, if my family gets attacked, I don't got to call anybody about what I'm going to do. And I don't want a president who's got to call a lot of people to figure out what to do when my country gets attacked. Because in calling up and talking that much, my country may be gone in the era of nuclear warfare. You need a man. And I don't mean a man like you can't have a woman. You need a man like the old Greek concept of Achilles, a great warrior with honor and courage and love of his country. You guys don't love this country. My God, we're systemically racist, Joe. How could you love us? We're evil. And Prince Obama, man, nobody ever apologized for America more than you and your wife. Jeez, she hated us all those years until we had to make you president for her to like us. How do we get people that don't love us? I once said, Prince Obama, you don't love America. I was damn right. And of course, the liberal press ripped me apart. But I was right. You don't love America. You love something. We're going to figure it out eventually because you're moving us in a very different direction. Looks like one world. Maybe you like the people that trained you in communism when you were young. Who knows? But it's time to make a choice. And I think the choice is pretty obvious. You got to hit Iran. And until we do, not only are our men and women going to get hit another 60 or 70 times, we're going to have more people killed. And in fact, if you're not going to do it, take them out. Bring them home. If you're not going to protect them, in the only way you can reasonably protect them, which is to deter our enemies from hurting them, if you're not going to detect these wonderful men and women who put their lives at risk for us, then bring them home and stop fooling everybody. And let's just wait until Trump becomes president, and then we can deploy them, and then we can do what he did when he bombed the shit out of them. Oh, there was going to be big retaliation. The third anniversary came up just a few weeks ago, and the Iranians said, we're going to get our retaliation. We're going to get our retaliation. We haven't forgotten, which means they haven't retaliated. They did the same thing with Jerusalem, right? You can't move Jerusalem. President Bush, you can't move Jerusalem. You promised when you ran for president. Or Bill Clinton, you promised to move to the. There's even a law. The Congress passed a law that the capital of Israel should be in Jerusalem. And Clinton started peeing in his pants, and Bush and Obama. Oh, I can't move it. I can't move it. Trump, I got to tell you the truth. Trump was very worried there'd be a lot of violence. He waited, assessed it, realized how important it was that we make a statement. Why do you think the world was peaceful when he was there? Our greatest president told us that. Peace through strength. It's the only way it works in a world of evil people. Peace through strength. Not, oh, we're not going to escalate. We're not going to escalate. No boots on the ground. No boots on the ground. I promise. Please. We'll be back as I get myself together. Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. And, I was going to fool around with this towel, but I just listening to that. And that, of course, is what happened to my executive assistant's husband on 9/11, Terry Hatton. They were married, very happily married, very much wanted to have children. I performed their ceremony. He's the bravest guy in the fire department, Captain Hatton. I think he had more. It seemed to me like every week I was giving him medals, and that's how we met Beth in my office. They fell in love. They got married. They were very happily married. They couldn't have children right away. Of course, they were working on it because they're a little bit older and they wanted to have children. And then on September 11, he was the captain of the rescue company, number 1 in Manhattan. Genius, brilliant. Saw him take people down from the top of buildings several times. I saw him in a hole, stayed there with him for an hour as he helped this woman out of a hole in the ground after an explosion. You were there? Yeah, I went to the scene. I always went to the scene when my people were in trouble. I'm not Biden. I'm a human being. They were in the hospital. I was there, so they got the right kind of treatment. I didn't look at my watch either. What a creep.
So on 9/11,
so Terry was there. He let his men in. When I got there, I briefly saw his truck from across the way when I was assessing it with Bernie Kerrick and with the chief, and so I knew he was there. And I knew if he was there, he was up at the top. He was in the most dangerous place possible because he wouldn't put his men any place he wouldn't go. And he died, and it took a while to find his body. And she called me up about 4 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I know I was on a helicopter going someplace. There was some false emergency or whatever. And she said, Mayor, I have good news and maybe bad news. I don't know. And I thought we had found his body. And she said, I'm pregnant. And I said, oh, that's good news. To have his genes and your genes together is a blessing to the world. It really is. Terry is now 21. She, a couple of years ago, read his name at the ceremony. She's a beautiful young lady. But, just listening to that same story, I remember when I did that commercial, it was hard to do it. This is what I don't get. I don't get. This is what I don't get, and why probably I'm so angry. When I look at the names, I have the names right here and the pictures of Sergeant Rivers and Specialist Moffat and Specialist Sanders. I don't know if he's even called the family. He is the president. You can't go visit all these people like I did as a mayor, but you can call them all. I know Trump did. I was his lawyer, remember? So I used to have to hang around with him when he had time. We could do his legal work, Jay Sekulow and I. So we would get sent out. He would do his work, and you could hear sometimes. I heard him make calls like that. They make you want to cry. And he didn't stay on the phone for a minute. He would ask him questions. And how many kids? Do they like ball? What can I send them? And he put a package together. If you're in Washington, he used to do that all the time. I told you the story. Well, we got to have a little levity, right? I'll tell you the story about Kim Jong-un. I don't think he'd mind. So the Democrats are such dodos. They really are. They really are stupid. And even this Haley witch, they say things like, oh, he says that they're his friends. It's a bunch of bull. Don't tell anybody. I can't do that. He's like stroking him. Kim Jong-un, my good friend. If he had to, we put a bomb on him in 2 seconds. So they got really friendly, and I think Kim Jong-un looks up to him. I do. I think he's like a father figure. So one of the last times they were together, Kim Jong-un says something. Probably they taught him to say it in English, like if you're ever around North Korea, drop in. If you're in my neighborhood, drop in. Something like that. If you're around North Korea, just drop in. Probably kidding, or maybe it was a bad translation, but that's the way it came across to Trump. So Trump, a little while later, is in Japan meeting with his good friend, the premier of Japan, and all of a sudden he gets it in his head, no plan to do this. Well, I'm going to take him up on that. I am in his neighborhood. I'm going to call him up. I'm going to say, I'm right nearby. I'm coming over. I'll meet you at the parallel. Doesn't tell his staff. He says, get me Kim Jong-un on the phone. Hey, I'll come over. Yeah, what tomorrow? Yeah, about noon.
He said,
what? At the parallel. I'll be on my side and you'll be on your side.
and he agreed.
Tells his staff, you can't do it. You can't do it. Secret Service won't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Of course they did it. And he shows up. Kim Jong-un comes and he puts his arm around him and he takes him back across. So he's like the first American president to go into North Korea. It's not like a big deal, but he just does it like, I'm going to just walk in. He's got this guy like that. Now, just think about this. I really want you to think about this so you don't think he left this bum we have in the White House a world at peace. None of this was happening. None of it. Putin wasn't taking anything. Putin wasn't taking a damn thing. There was nothing going on with Hamas, and they were doing the Abraham Accords in the Middle East. Putin wasn't going to invade. because he would have. He invaded under every other American president, including Bush. Bush, Prince Obama, and the coward. Boom. That'd be an explanation for why he doesn't do it under Trump. Could it be that he's afraid of him? Of course it is. And when I say afraid, I don't mean like he said, because Putin is a horrible human being, but he's tough as nails. He's not like a little dish rag like we got. He's not like scared. He's like calculating. I can't be sure. I go up against the U.S. I better be sure, because despite all the everything else, we are still the greatest military power on earth, and we have capabilities that I'm not sure we even know we have. Well, not everybody knows we have, and I'm sure Dodo doesn't, because he wouldn't understand it. So nobody wants to go up against us, and the reason we should go after, the reason we should push them really hard, both China and Iran, they're not ready for it. They're sucking all around to try to avoid it. They need more time. Look at Z. Z has calmed down. He's hoping to get to the end of this and get another 4 years of a guy he can take advantage of. And then in the second term, with either Dodo or the yeller, the ha 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 person, he'll go and take Taiwan. And he's praying like hell he doesn't get Trump. And there's no way that the Ayatollah wants to go to war. Here's an analysis. I don't know if I have the right one here. Oh, here it is. Here's an analysis, and I'm just picking one out, but this is just an observation, a by the way observation. But you got to think about these things. You got to think about these things, and you got to look for the time when you can do this. Now, if it were me, I would test this out with my intelligence services after I fired them all and got new ones. When was the last time they were right, by the way? Oh, I don't know. The Washington's people were good during the Revolutionary War. Lincoln's intelligence was as bad as his generals. Lincoln's generals were horrible. Remember when they wanted him to get rid of Grant? They said Grant was an alcoholic, and he said, "Get me some more alcoholics." He's the only one who can win a war.
One of them ran against him for president, right?
McClellan. Yeah.
He
won New York City. He won New York City. Yeah, I'm embarrassed I am in my city.
That's right. And wow, what a story. And President Trump in North Korea with Kim Jong-un. Can you imagine Biden with any world leaders? I wonder what these world leaders think.
Korea is Biden. He doesn't even know where America is.
Doesn't know where he is.
He knows nothing.
Well, it's pretty, but Mike, you're not far off there, because he thought he was in. He thought he was in Colombia when he was in Cambodia. He thought he was in Colombia.
That's what I'm saying. He has no idea where he is half the time.
He's out.
Congratulations on just winning the election, President of Colombia. No, come on. You can't tell the difference between a Colombian and a Cambodian.
Did you see the video we played in the beginning when he arose from his nursing home, wherever he was? He had no idea where he was. It's like he just woke up.
But we want to know where you are. So comment below where you're tuning in from. We do this once in a while, and we get the chat really lively. So comment below. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And we're going to put this up on the screen. Where in the world are you tuning in from? We'll read some of these off here as we put them up.
I can't find it right now. But
where in the world? Give us the city and state. Where are you watching us from?
But the point is that Iran, the regime of terror, which is what I call it, would not be going through these permutations and combinations to use these decoys if they were ready for a big confrontation with the big Satan. And there's any number of reasons for it. First of all, look, the last time they were in a war, they fought Iraq to a 7-year tie. They never moved the whole war was fought. They took a little of this, they took a little of that, right? And they lost like 1 million people. They're very good at killing each other, but they made no progress against Iraq. Now, how long did it take us to take Iraq? What, 2 months?
How long?
Yeah. Just 7 years. They never got past here. Well, they're right next to the damn capital. We came in here. And we really had the place in a month. I think we had. Well, we'll get Bernie on because Bernie was there. We had the place in a month. They never got it. You're going to compare their army to, even with the diversity training, we still got a bunch of guys there who think it's a bunch of bull, So they're not ready for us. They're not ready for us for another reason. Even if they are, like some people think, virtually there on nuclear weapons, they're just there. They're not a sophisticated nuclear power. They're a nuclear power, and the bomb may go off in the wrong direction, like happens to. What about those statistics with Hamas? 25% of their rockets were blown up in their hands. They were killing themselves more than the Israelis were killing them. I wonder if they count those people in their casualties. They probably do. But they kill themselves. These are not, they're not quite what we are. So he doesn't want to escalate right now. So you have room to pound him, and he's not going to do. He's going to do what he did when you took out Soleimani and all his top people, taking out his nuclear facilities. He's used to that. Israel was doing it to him every 2 or 3 years. So just get used to it. And they'll have to go spend billions and billions to redo it. And then you have to have the guts, Biden, to cut him off. All you got to do is call up Trump and ask Trump, how do you really apply sanctions? But I'm going to tell you a secret. When your former boss, Prince Obama, left, within 3 months, Trump was bankrupting Iran, and he hadn't put a new sanction on yet. You know what that tells me? That creep wasn't enforcing the sanctions. The creep I'm talking about is the guy who gave cash to the terrorists. And yes, Trump put on incredible sanctions after that. That's why they were in the streets selling their kidneys. And by the way, you've got a large number of people in Iran who love us. I can show you videos of signs for Trump on the streets, because unlike Prince Obama, who turned his back on them, when they started their riots, he did what Reagan did with solidarity. So let's hope we get through this. Now, the only retaliation against Iran is being done by Israel, doing our dirty work. I mean, they killed a commander two down from Soleimani in May 2022. They shot him dead on the streets of Tehran. The Iranians blame it on Israel. Israel says, we didn't do it. And all those scientists that disappeared, they lost all their scientists who work on the, who've been stealing the bombs from others. They all got killed too. And they can you imagine they blamed it on Mossad? Mossad wouldn't do that. I believe the Israelis when they say they didn't do it. They didn't do it.
Mayor, an interesting fact.
People probably killed themselves or something.
An interesting fact about that money that Obama gave Iran. What he actually did was he converted it to untraceable euros, so it didn't look like the United States gave it to them.
You know what we call that?
Money laundering?
Money laundering.
Yeah.
It's a 20-year felony. and they want to put me in jail for 20 years for just being a lawyer. I didn't do anything like that.
No.
I had to end up with Fanny, quite contrary.
We got some news on.
Yeah, news on Fanny.
Oh,
Should we?
good
Fanny-
transition, Mayor.
Fanny's screwing around with a whistleblower, huh?
That's right. We are.
She had a big whistleblower about stealing money, and
That's
she's very, very
That's
gentle
right.
with the whistleblower.
And
She
we-
fired her.
and we have the tape. So Fulton County DA Fannie Willis, sorry,
Who cares?
who is under investigation already for allegedly spending taxpayer funds on
And she earned investigating me.
and
They earned that money investigating a very dangerous criminal. Myself, Donald Trump.
she's now being called up by a former employee for apparently abusing another federal grant. Willis, who apparently was confronted by staffer Amanda Timpson in a November 19th, 2021 meeting after the DA's Willis's campaign social media manager, Michael Cuffey, planned to use part of a $500,000 grant for travel, computers, and quote, swag. And this is all according to
What is that, Jim?
video swag.
What's swag?
Outfits, clothes, nice clothes, hip clothing.
I was a prosecutor for 17 years and nobody gave me even one swag.
No,
Not even a single swag.
you bought your own swag. You had swag. You wore a suit and tie. You wore a nice.
This is swag.
That's swag right now.
That
You have
tie- that
swag.
tie is very swag.
Very so yeah.
Very
You have
I pick this out special.
yeah.
That's a very swag
That's
tie.
what
I haven't worn it in
So
a
that-
long time. No, I hadn't worn it in a long time. And I saw it in my closet and I said, I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it tonight.
That's swag that you likely either purchased with your own funds.
I did.
Or was
I,
gifted to you by
I'm going to tell
somebody.
you the truth. I don't want to sound pretentious. I purchased it in Paris.
Wow.
I think I bought a couple
Call-
of
you have
Hermes
swag.
ties here, but basically, when I'd go to Paris, because I used to go to Paris for because I consulted with a Iranian dissident organization,
now that's swag. Now what you
What do you mean?
do?
and I would stop off at I'd stop off at Hermes because I opened the Hermes in New York, and the guy who ran the Hermes in New York ran the Hermes in Paris. And I would go and I'd get little gifts for people. And then I'd always get myself a tie. And I think I got this time.
And of course, that's swag. And you purchased that in Paris.
yeah,
what
yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't do was use federal funds.
God forbid.
Now no one's accusing anyone here of purchasing a tie.
I'm not presumed innocent. I work with Trump, but she has all her constitutional rights. I had to give them all up to her.
Now what happened?
Not everybody can have constitution. I didn't know this. When I went to law school, I thought everybody had constitutional rights. I've now learned from the New York Times and certain people have constitutional rights. It's only that, and the other people aren't important enough to have it, like me. I'm not, or Trump. We're not important enough to have constitutional rights. We're not allowed to have lawyers or attorney-client privilege, or somebody like Navarro's not allowed to have executive privilege. I thought it was really very necessary to put Pete in those leg irons. He's such a dangerous guy. Every time I went to the White House, I always worry about what's Navarro going to do to me. Now they're going to get him off the streets. I mean, how ridiculous is this? Did you see the statistics on crime in Washington, D.C.?
They want
It
to
makes New York. It makes New York look like
very sad.
The mayor was begging for the National Guard on TV to come in.
And they wasted all that money on J6.
Yep.
That was the biggest investigation in American history.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people are walking the streets, raping and killing people because they haven't had the time to prosecute them, because they went after all those poor people, 1,000 of them, and then went to their homes dressed up like Nazi stormtroopers and ripped them out?
And now it's hitting the Democrats and where they work and where they live. And
they got rid of really, like they got really now
it's becoming an actual issue.
Now they've re-indicted these guys.
Yeah.
They had a dangerous weapon. They've had the case for 3 years. They've had this tape for 3, and the guys had a dangerous weapon. It was some kind of a plastic shield. that they used to protect themselves from the tear gas that they were using, that probably assisted in killing someone. Well, I should just say alleged, but we'll go into more detail on that at a different time. But I mean, this is absolutely crazy. So let's talk a little about the border, because if you're a little crazy, you're a lot crazy. If you're a little demented, you're a lot demented. And when you're really out of it, you're really out of it. Now, what he said this morning about I'm not going to tell you my plan, like he's in kindergarten. I'm not going to tell you my plan. The statement he made about the border, they should just grab him, write down 25th Amendment, and put him in a nursing home or hospital. Please put on his reasons why he can't give us even a teeny bit of security at the border, why it is that we don't have a border anymore. Listen to his excuse for this.
Yes.
What do you hold Iran responsible for the death of those 3 Americans?
I do hold them responsible in the sense that they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it. We'll have that discussion.
Weeknights do not deter these attacks in the past. What will be different this time?
We'll see. I don't think we need a wider war in the Middle East. That's not what I'm looking for.
Donald Trump be allowed on the ballot.
As far as I'm concerned, that's fine.
Why is he even hold to be the threat to democracy, as you say?
You're back, man.
Gotta be here soon.
Can you see those numbers?
Yes.
I'm looking at them backwards, but here's what they say. 2020, 420,000. Okay. 2023, 3,200,000. The 2020 is the last year that Trump was president. That was the lowest number.
Oh, okay.
That was the lowest number. Oh, yeah, Greg, give me that too. That was the lowest number of people apprehended at the border in something like 25 years, achieved under a president. A great president, by the way.
Is that it?
You see the next number down here? This is the guy who needs to get the Border Patrol. He needs to be given the Border Patrol because he's ended up with 3.2 million. But now, what he just said to you is a load of bullshit. It's a straight out and out lie. He has the same laws, powers at his disposal that Trump did. They haven't changed. And what is this? What did he say about the Border Patrol, Ted? Get me the Border Patrol?
Give me the power or something?
No, get me the Border Patrol.
Yeah.
He runs the Border Patrol.
Hmm.
How can he say that? I mean, doesn't it indicate he should be ripped out of the White House and put in a hospital? He doesn't know that he is in charge of the Border Patrol. Could you just play that Border Patrol again? I didn't hear it. I want to hear the exact words because.
Yes.
What do you hold Iran responsible for the death of those 3 Americans?
I do hold them responsible in the sense that they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it. We'll have that discussion.
Weeknights do not deter these attacks in the past. What will be different this time?
We'll see. I don't think we need a wider war in the Middle East. That's not what I'm looking for.
Well, that was
Sorry.
that was the
Iran was.
avoidance.
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta put it up and give me 2 seconds. Did
Was-
you put something on there?
We don't want a wider war. We don't want a wider war.
Mhm.
That was after he sounded he was worried he was a little too tough.
Yeah, I gotta put it.
We're- We're going to strike back, but I'm not going to tell you when.
Yeah.
Oh, but we don't want a wider war. Please don't get mad at me. Please. I don't want a war. China will get mad at me and take the money away.
Find that. All right. Go talk about that, and I'm gonna upload.
Okay, now if you want to look over there, you'll see a chart. I'm going to tell you what that chart
this clip.
means. That's a chart of all the people coming into this country, a large number of which want to rape you, kill you, sell you fentanyl, and have developed the biggest child trafficking ring in the world. America now leads the world in human trafficking. We're number one. Isn't that nice? Under Biden, we became number one in human trafficking. Now, do you see that big line that seems to go up to infinity? That's what Biden did to us. You see where it starts at the bottom there? That's Trump. You see the one that I circled? That's Trump. That was the lowest ever. You see, just a little lower than here. Now, this was the last time we had a record. That's under Clinton, right there. Okay, then it's down. Obama keeps it down pretty well. It's the decline begins under Bush. Look. It comes down here, almost a record, right? And then it comes over here. Then this way.
Towards the wall. Other way.
By the way,
A little more. There we go. So people can see those.
I want you to see he had a bump here. Nothing like Biden, but he had a bump here. And then in his last year, and I know this because a lot of this has to do with the fentanyl task force they put together, and my son was part of it. So I know the statistics there. He got immigration down his last year in office to the lowest that it had ever been since they started measuring it. Now, that's an accomplishment. You can't make this up, and you can't make up what then happened. Look at that. It goes up to 2.4 million. Then it goes up to 3.2 million. And you see the arrow? It's going up more now. Since these numbers came in, he set new records. And the people coming in aren't vetted. If we go back here, these people were vetted. We had some idea who they were. We don't have that anymore. I'll give you one simple example. Everybody back here, the Chinese people, even just to get past the first, had to answer 40 questions. And I just have to answer 4 because they complained that it was taking too long to get in illegally. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back to craziness.
Device is something that you can plug into your television, and now you can use your television as a social television type experience. So in the Portal universe, you can watch your favorite content creators' videos, live streams, music. We also have TV subscriptions as well.
subscriptions.
You can also
regular channels, all the sports.
Right, you can actually cut your cable from your cable subscription and get QUX TV on our QX TV boxes, and you can pay half the price that you're currently paying for your cable television subscription, and you can get all the best premium TV channels and more. I mean, it's really, there's so much on there, Rudy. I mean, you've seen it.
No, I've seen it and I use it, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's just exactly the same except for half the price. Plus, nobody is finding out what I'm watching, and that's not being reported to anybody.
Right, so you have absolute privacy using this device, which you don't have on other devices out there currently on the market.
This is absolutely great. QUX.TV is how you can find out about it. QUX.TV.
Use promo code RUDY to receive $30 off.
Welcome back. And I want to remind all of you to take care of our friend Michael. Get your Tunnel to Towers for sure. Get your $11 into Tunnel to Towers. With everything that's going on with our military, get your money, $11 each month. Also, another patriotic thing. I know you think my pillow is not it is patriotic because this guy puts more money and more resources into getting us out of the fix that we're in than anybody that I know. And this is a damn good towel. I had it next to my face here to calm myself down, and it works. But the sheets and everything else are just as good. That's mypillow.com/Rudy. And don't forget balance of nature. Look, I've got my Christmas decorations back. Take balance of nature. It's good for you. I'm taking extra right now because I was feeling a little tired the other day. And I'm feeling like a rock. Rudy the Rock, the French prime minister called me that. Did you know that? A premier. Something like that. So the 5 stories that they're not going to tell you about. One, the legal decision in Texas against Biden or Biden against Texas is one thing. It's a complicated decision based on federal preemption and the Constitution, states' rights. You could go either way on that. But you can't go either way on who's right and who's wrong. Governor Abbott put up wire to keep the illegals out of this country who are setting records for people dying of fentanyl, children being molested, crimes being committed like the ones in New York beating up the cops. And to save his state is being, it's like this is more than when an army comes in. And a lot of these people are criminals. It isn't like 20 years ago. And if they're not criminals, there aren't enough criminals, the cartels to go out and get them and bring them in because they're running the show. All Abbott does is put down the wire to stop them. And this criminal in the White House wants to take the wire out so they can come in. And then he wants to tell you that garbage that he said before, that he's just give me the Border Patrol. Who took it from him? I don't know who has the Border Patrol. I mean, I could get you the statute if you want. It's a federal agency. It's an executive branch agency, damn it. Unitary executive means everybody exercises the power of the president. He can tell them to do anything he wants. He's their boss.
We have the clip, man.
Yeah. Could be his dumbest remark, and that's a hell of a thing. Listen to this.
With executive authority, or is there more you could do? Absent
Not all I can do. Just give me the power. I've asked for the very day I got in office. Give me the border.
I didn't hear Border Patrol.
No, he said, give me the power.
No, he talks about the Border Patrol. It's really important for these people to hear that. Get me the power. Well, he does have the power, but would you please find the Border Patrol comment? Let me tell you the powers that he has, okay? Really simple. He's got presidential authority to restrict anybody he wants. Congress doesn't have to pass that, jackass. He has it. That's under the Immigration and Naturalization Law, Section 237. Just go put down Immigration Act, Section 237 and educate yourself more than the moron who's your president. He can do an expedited removal of anybody that he has concerns about out, like a Chinese guy that answers the questions funny. And he should go back to the 40 questions rather than the 4. Yes, there's a really good possibility China will send spies here. They already have. And I know he got 31 million from them, but the hell with that. Then he can do discretionary detention. That means anybody he can put in jail. He doesn't have to put them out on parole. He can keep them in jail until we throw them out. Since only 5% of them are entitled to asylum, put them in jail. It don't cost money. It's a lot better than women getting raped, though. And then there's mandatory detention. And man, that's what the sanctuary states avoid. They don't turn the people over. Now, I did. And they accused me of having a sanctuary state because I allowed them to put their kids in school. But I did everything else. And the criminals, I wasn't going to let the criminals go anywhere. But so the president has the power that he's now claiming as a massive liar that the Republicans, some of this power goes back to 1930. Go ahead.
With executive authority, is there more you could do? Absent
Not all I can do. Give me the power. I've asked for the very day I got in office. Give me the Border Patrol. Give me the people. Give me the people, the judges.
Did you hear him say, "Give me the Border Patrol"? What in God's name is he talking about? What is he talking about? He doesn't think he has the Border Patrol? Would somebody interpret that for me? What does he mean by that? And our geniuses in the press aren't concerned about that? There's something wrong. Either he doesn't know he has the Border Patrol, which is goddamn serious. He doesn't know he has the Border Patrol. He's lying about it. Or he's demented about it. It can't be good. It's like saying I'm not the president. Well, he probably, well, I don't think I can say what I want to say now. So he is in essence allowing an invasion of the United States, and he's aiding and abetting it. When he takes down the wires that Governor Abbott bravely put up, Governor Abbott is trying to save you, and he's trying to get you killed. So you want my VP name I'm throwing out there? Governor Abbott. He's got the couillons to be president. He's proven it. Oh, there are others. I'm going to give you others, by the way. We love Ben Carson, by the way. But, the president's got, I don't know who he's going to pick. And, but he should have a wide range of choices here. Also, these migrants, in case you want to find out that they're different than they used to be, just come to New York and I'll take you to Floyd Bennett Field. You can't get within 5 miles of that place and not see one of them looting a house, banging on a door, frightening the living daylights out of the kids. They're ruining. That's a good neighborhood, Mike.
It's Marine Park is a working class neighborhood.
A
lot of cops, a lot of firemen.
We lost a lot of people on 9/11.
Yep.
Spent a lot of time in churches there, and I walked a beautiful young lady down the aisle because her brother was a firefighter who died.
And Rockaway Beach, a very nice place, is right across the bridge. They can walk right across
it's a
the
beautiful
bridge.
part of New York.
Yeah.
And now they're frightened out of their minds. They want to move out because they put 2,000 people. Everybody told Jerky not to do it, and he did it. Actually, they told him not to do it because they were afraid for the migrants, because actually it's technically below sea level. They're afraid the migrants are going to drown. They don't care about the people. Our citizens don't count. The migrants only count. And some of the migrants at the beginning rejected it because it wasn't as nice as the hotel. But then they had to be, then 2,000 were forced to stay there. So they come out and they knock on the door. I'd like to have lunch. I'd like to have dinner. You got any clothes for me? Can you imagine that? Now, if it isn't them, then you go to Roosevelt Hotel, which was a beautiful hotel. That's the center. I didn't get the exact time period, but they maybe just in the last period of time, they had 40 felonies. That's a lot of felonies for a hotel. I don't think they've had 40 felonies in the lifetime of the Roosevelt Hotel, when like decent human beings stayed there. Now, tell me I'm a xenophobe. Like hell I am. People are coming in and they're not vetted. So let's say a lot of them are good people. The bad people watching that, who have all kinds of designs to make millions on fentanyl, or to traffic in children, or to spy on us, or to do a terrorist act against us. They're going to take advantage of that. And if they didn't, they'd be stupid criminals rather than smart criminals. And the more that you allow it to happen, the more the merrier, the more that come in. And the bigger that number becomes, And I mean, you got any doubt who you're going to vote for president when you look at that? You're going to vote for this guy or this guy? You're going to vote for the guy that can keep you and your family alive, or you're going to vote for the guy that has let in about 7 to 8 million people, of which some fairly unacceptably large percentage are criminals? Not all 8 million. It doesn't have to be all 8 million. But a lot more than would have been the case even in the past. And if they're not criminals, the cartels are making a fortune from the Islamic terrorist groups and from China to get their people in. And they're not even counted on here because they come in as not observed. Because the more that come in, the more you can get in unobserved, and that's where you make the big money. So you see this here? See this? That's up here. It's up here. You want this another 4 years of this? We won't have a country if we have one now. If you don't have a border, you can't have a country. Particularly a country like America that's defined by shared values. Abraham Lincoln will tell you what holds America together. It's shared values. Our founding fathers told us, if we lose that, we lose America. We're going to be the generation to lose America because we elected a crooked, demented president, because we got defrauded. I'm not talking about the votes yet. You get around to that. I'm talking about covering up the hard drive. You were defrauded. So here's the good news that I just noticed, and I was going to tell you yesterday, and I'm going to finish by telling you right now. Okay? The good news is that Trump only lost, what is it?
6 states.
6 states.
3 of them under 1 percentage points, 3 more.
He lost, and Biden has 2. So basically, if he wins Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin, which he lost each one of them by less than 1%, maybe it makes you a little suspicious if I show you that. Let me show you this. Zero. Georgia, Fannie, little Fannie, quite contrary. Notice that Fannie hasn't denied any of the allegations, and she's a public figure. She hasn't denied any of it. I mean, I don't know if they're true or not, and she's presumed innocent, but she hasn't denied it. She hasn't said she wasn't stealing money. And I don't care about the other thing, whether they were cheating on his wife or whatever. That's up to them. I am a little annoyed that they were making money off trying to put me in jail for the rest of my life. And I wish they would just drop that case. So he lost Georgia by 0.23. He lost Arizona by 0.31. He lost Wisconsin by 0.63. And he lost Pennsylvania by just a little over 1%. Does it mean anything that he was ahead in all of these before they stopped counting? That make you a little suspicious, huh? Now, all he had to do is win the first 3 of those. He didn't even have to win that big one down there. Just the first 3. Or he could have won one of these 2. Nevada was only 2%, and Michigan was almost 3%. He's leading in Michigan right now by 9. Gee, I wonder. He's leading by 9. I wonder. Now, every other state, he won 2 states by small numbers. He won North Carolina by 1.3, and he won Florida by 3.4. Everything else he won by more than that. So to hold on to the states that he had shouldn't be that difficult, because except for North Carolina and Florida, everything is above 3%. and Florida was 3.4. And you know that Florida has gone considerably more red than, and their complete rejection of Western civilization and the values of Western civilization. And they're wanting to take children away so they can mutilate them and not tell the children should lose North Carolina for them. So I think he will win both by more than 3.4 and 1.3. Then I'd like you to tell me the state that he won that he's going to lose. And if we do our job, maybe we get a real count there, huh? See? We just need three. We just need three of them, yeah. Or, well, you know Michigan better than I do. Michigan has more. Michigan is the second most electoral votes after Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Let's see who's on the ballot for the Democrats and the Senate race and the issues. But it is definitely a winnable state for President Trump.
Why is it doing so well there now?
The myth about Joe Biden, I think people have seen through. He was kind of like the friendly Uncle Joe. He was given a lot of credit for the auto bailout.
It wasn't helped by the union endorsing him.
No.
Do they not listen to?
Also, Hillary Clinton was just.
Do they not listen to the union?
No, the union leadership. They went with Trump in 2016. Trump was willing to talk about the problems with NAFTA. He called out the TPP.
I bet if they could vote, they'd leave the union.
They did. Michigan had right to work, but then the current Democrat governor got repealed.
I say to you that the Democrats are fascists.
Yeah.
They don't allow you to make a democratic choice as to whether you should be a member of a union or not. Well,
rank and file members voted for Trump, but Biden was able to win enough of them back or keep them out of it. The rank and file union. I mean, Trump versus Clinton, Hillary, Trump all the way. Trump versus Biden, Trump still had a strong presence, but Biden
you think I'm crazy to be suspicious because we were ahead there.
Not at all. I know that you're not crazy for. I mean,
that Detroit, we were ahead there until the big truck came in.
It was a big joke in Detroit up until the 2020 election. All Republicans.
Two big trucks.
And then half of them, more than half, refused to talk about it after 20. They were scared into silence. But we all joked in previous election cycles how, and it was a joke, but it was true. Detroit would report late, right? How many votes do they need to get? All the actions.
I knew it at the time because I knew how bad Biden could be more than anyone else. Although I didn't think he'd be this bad. But I knew people would die as a result of this incompetent being president and crook. But I didn't realize it'd be this bad. He's taken our country away.
We openly talked about the elections being.
I really didn't think he'd try to put me in jail for the rest of my life either.
Well, he's now at this point too being used by people around him, and some of them.
Oh, he's not being used. He's a user.
He's a user, but he's also crossing over now into being used because of his mental capacity. I mean,
He knows exactly what he's doing, cheating and taking money. The guy's been doing it all his life.
It's not an excuse. I'm just saying right now he's on.
If he wants some sympathy, put yourself in a hospital, you bum. Get the hell out of the White House. You're not getting any sympathy for me when you're getting our young men and women killed. Sorry. Sympathy ends. And with your damn family, too. They don't know that you're demented. Come on. You feed yourself, Joe. It doesn't look like it that you'd be able to find your face. I think we got them all. We got Fanny. We took care of Fanny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fanny's messing around as another theft issue. But she's presumed innocent. She's presumed innocent. And she doesn't have to deny it. And the squad. I got to mention the squad. We got to get rid of this Ilhan Omar, who represents Somalia. I don't even bother to play it. It was in Somalian, and we played it last night. But I mean, come on.
Well, her friend Cori Bush is being investigated by the Biden DOJ actually for spending campaign money.
She's not in the golden circle. She's not in the golden circle. She probably doesn't have any money.
She paid her husband's security company.
That's not much, though, to the Bidens. That's chump change.
$500K, nothing.
Come on.
Yeah, that's nothing.
When I heard their bribes, I almost fainted. I mean, I prosecuted a congressman for a $40,000 bribe. I feel guilty. 40 grand bribe. I mean, you should get probably an award for not being so dishonest.
Yeah.
Compared to the Bidens.
Crazy.
$1 million. $10 million. Oh, just a little cheap 3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Now, how stupid do you have to be to not know why they were getting that money? You got to be like a mental midget like Joe not to know why they were getting the money.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big thing in the middle of this family called a vice president, a senator. They do nothing else. They have no skills. They don't sell anything. And countries that are enemies of ours give them a fortune.
Wild.
And they want to put me in jail for saying that. What do they want to put me in jail for saying? What? Oh, that there was evidence that the election in Georgia was stolen. Evidence? Jesus Christ! It was coming up. My gosh! It was coming out of my ears. The evidence. I didn't make up any of this. It was all given to me by American citizens who wanted to testify, and the judges wouldn't let them. And they used to say, "Well, you didn't win any." Look at the way the judges are acting now. Those are judges. The guy Moron is a judge. He values Mar-a-Lago at 8. What was it? 18 million.
Crazy.
I mean, I don't know if you have been following us long enough to know that Ted and I were so upset about that. We went and did our own. We played real estate agent, and we went and got comparables. We found like a modest house for 40 million. It's about 1/10 of the size of Mar-a-Lago. And it was just a regular plot. Mar-a-Lago is the whole island. I think it is the only piece of property on the island that's on the Atlantic and on the intercoastal because it's so big. It has a grand mansion. It has 4 or 5 other houses, several large. Then it's got a gigantic beach house. It's got its own beach. And it's a money-making proposition as well. And there's a 5-bedroom house in a relatively okay part of Palm Beach that looks like a mini mansion, and they were selling it for 40 million. So, I mean, everybody I talked to said, depending on whether they like Trump or not, people that didn't like Trump said it's worth $500 million. People who did like Trump said 1.2.
Well, these judges are too busy letting out, and these DAs letting off these criminals like the migrant, like the illegal immigrant.
Well, he's got the political hack woman sitting on his lap next to him. Well, I've never seen a judge do in my life. What the hell is she telling him? Whispering sweet little nothings in his ear while the trial's going on. Hey, Moron, you better be careful because the Democratic Party.
Let's play the video of these.
Moron got elected 3 times, though. But there is a caveat to that. He was never opposed, which means he was elected like they select judges in the Soviet Union, which is the way we do it in New York, because it's very rare that a judge gets opposed. They're selected by the party hacks. And then they act like they're really important. We're very important. You better show respect for the court. Yeah. You better start acting like a judge.
Well, folks will want to stick around for after the show and head over to X to the subscription page. You have a very special episode coming out in just a matter of minutes that covers the situation in the Middle East, of course, and potential responses.
I think it will give you the background information that in the next couple of days you're going to need to evaluate. He's going to do something, and I think this will. You don't think so?
No.
Mike is looking like he's not going to do anything. But he's going to do something.
But Biden, he's gonna shit his pants. Sorry. Think I can't say shit on here, can I?
Yeah, I think you
I
can.
think you can, but you know what we should do?
Yeah.
We should all together send him a nice little note saying, "Dear Joe, we would like to inform you that you control the Border Patrol. So don't feel so bad."
Doesn't his mentor Obama tell him these things?
Do you think Obama tells him he doesn't control the
No, Obama should tell him.
Obama probably tells him he doesn't control the Border
Yeah,
Patrol.
yeah,
I do. Obama probably has him convinced that the ex-president runs the Border Patrol, that it was changed.
Right. But that would be Trump.
Because he probably cheated his way through constitutional law, like he cheated his way through law school. So he probably doesn't know that they don't really have any powers for an ex-president. And that's why he's worried about Trump. He thinks, well, if you can run the Border Patrol, maybe Trump can run the Border Patrol.
Well, we know Mayorkas isn't running the Border Patrol. That's for sure.
Mayorkas, what's he do?
No one knows what he does. That's why he's being impeached. No one has any idea what he's doing.
He's like the CNN reporters during the Black Lives Matter strike, and they'd stand there like this.
Mostly peaceful.
This is a very peaceful. It's a very peaceful.
Meanwhile, there's a Molotov cocktail going over their head.
Right in back, he has a big fire.
Yeah.
It's a very
Mostly
peaceful.
And they're wearing bulletproof vests and helmets. That's the greatest. That's the greatest thing. Mostly peaceful.
That's crazy.
Mostly peaceful.
Okay.
Wearing combat gear to a mostly peaceful protest.
Crazy thing.
You can't make it up, man. You can't make it up. It's good.
It's crazy.
I know.
It is wild.
Well, God bless the people of Israel. God bless the people of the United States. And God bless America. And thank you so much for joining us. We love having you.
Back tomorrow.
And don't forget what he told you. Go to subscription. You're going to enjoy this one.
Is to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to